A Sphinx slash SFNGKS Sphinx Ancient Greek Sigma Phi Iota Gamma Xi Sphinx Biotian Phi Iota Xi Pik's plural Sphinxes or Sphinges is a mythical creature with the head of a human, the body of a lion, and the wings of an eagle. In Greek tradition, the Sphinx is a treacherous and merciless being with the head of a woman, the haunches of a lion, and the wings of a bird. According to Greek myth, she challenges those who encounter her to answer a riddle and kills and eats them when they fail to do so. This deadly version of a sphinx appears in the myth and drama of Oedipus II. In Egyptian mythology, in contrast, the Sphinx is typically depicted as a man, an androsphinx. Ancient Greek Alpha Nu Delta Rho Omicron Sigma Phi Iota Gamma Xi, and seen as benevolent, though with strength as ferocious as that of the Greek version. Both the Greek and Egyptian sphinxes were thought of as guardians, and statues of them often flanked the entrances to temples. During the Renaissance, the Sphinx enjoyed a major revival in European decorative art. During this period, images of the Sphinx were initially similar to the ancient Egyptian version, but when later exported to other cultures, the Sphinx was often conceived of quite differently, partly due to varied translations of descriptions of the originals, and partly through the evolution of the concept, as it was integrated into other cultural traditions. However, depictions of the Sphinx are generally associated with grand architectural structures such as royal tombs or religious temples. The word Sphinx comes from the Greek sigma phi iota gamma xi, associated by folk etymology with the verb sigma phi iota gamma gamma omega sphingeo, meaning to squeeze, to tighten up. 4-5 This name may be derived from the fact that lions kill their prey by strangulation, biting the throat of prey and holding them down until they die. However, the historian Susan Weisbauer suggests that the word Sphinx was instead a Greek corruption of the Egyptian name Shizpankh, which meant living image, and referred rather to the statue of the Sphinx, which was carved out of living rock that was a contiguous part of the stony body of the earth, shaped, but not cut away from its original source, than to the beast itself. The largest and most famous Sphinx is the Great Sphinx of Giza, situated on the Giza Plateau adjacent to the Great Pyramids of Giza on the west bank of the Nile River and facing east 29 degrees 58'31" and 31 degrees 08'15". The Sphinx is located southeast of the pyramids. While the date of its construction is not known for certain, the general consensus among Egyptologists is that the head of the Great Sphinx bears the likeness of the pharaoh Khafre, dating it to between 2600 and 2500 BC. However, a fringe minority of late 20th century geologists have claimed evidence of water erosion in and around the Sphinx enclosure, which would prove that the Sphinx predates Khafre at around 10,000 to 5000 BC, a claim that is sometimes referred to as the Sphinx water erosion hypothesis, but which has little support among Egyptologists, and contradicts other evidence. 7. What names their builders gave to these statues is not known. At the Great Sphinx site, a 1400 BC inscription on a stool belonging to the 18th dynasty pharaoh Thutmose lists the names of 3 aspects of the local sun deity of that period, Khepra Re Atum. Many pharaohs had their heads carved atop the guardian statues for their tombs to show their close relationship with the powerful solar deity Sekhmet, a lioness. Besides the Great Sphinx, other famous Egyptian sphinxes include one bearing the head of the pharaoh Hatshepsut with her likeness carved in granite, which is now in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, and the Alabaster Sphinx of Memphis, currently located within the open-air museum at that site. The theme was expanded to form great avenues of guardian sphinxes, lining the approaches to tombs and temples, as well as serving as details atop the posts of flights of stairs to very grand complexes. 900 sphinxes with ram heads, criosphinxes, believed to represent Amon, were built in Thebes, where his cult was strongest. At Karnak, each criosphinx is fronted by a full-length statue of the pharaoh. The task of these sphinxes was to hold back the forces of evil. 8. The Great Sphinx has become an emblem of Egypt, frequently appearing on its stamps, coins and official documents. 9. In March 2023, a limestone sphinx was discovered at the Dendera temple complex. This sphinx, which is depicted with a slight grin and dimples, is thought to be made in the image of the Roman Emperor Claudius. The revived Mannerist Sphinx of the late 15th century is sometimes thought of as the French Sphinx. Her coiffed head is erect, and she has the breasts of a young woman. Often she wears eardrops and pearls as ornaments. Her body is naturalistically rendered as a recumbent lioness. Such sphinxes were revived when the grotesque or grotesque decorations of the unearthed Domus Aurea of Nero were brought to light in late 15th century Rome, and she was incorporated into the classical vocabulary of arabesque designs that spread throughout Europe in engravings during the 16th and 17th centuries. Sphinxes were included in the decoration of the loggia of the Vatican Palace by the workshop of Raphael 1515–20, which updated the vocabulary of the Roman grotesque. The first appearances of sphinxes in French art are in the school of Fontainebleau in the 1520s and 1530s, and she continues into the late Baroque style of the French regents 1715 to 1723. From France she spread throughout Europe, becoming a regular feature of the outdoors decorative sculpture of 18th-century palace gardens, as in the Upper Belvedere Palace in Vienna, Sanssouci Park in Potsdam, La Granja in Spain, Branicki Palace in Bialystok, or the late Rococo examples in the grounds of the Portuguese Clus National Palace of perhaps the 1760s, with ruffs and cloaked chests ending with a little cape dot, a composite mythological being with the body of a lion and the head of a human being is present in the traditions. Mythology and art of South and Southeast Asia. 29 Variously known as Pursamarga Sanskrit man beast, Purushmrigam Tamil man beast, Naravirala Sanskrit man cat in India, or as Narasimha Sanskrit man lion in Sri Lanka, Manusya or Manatha Pali man lion in Myanmar, and Norazing from Pali man lion, a variation of the Sanskrit Narasimha or Thep Norazing man lion deity, or Noraner in Thailand. Although, just like the Narasimha, he has a head of a lion and the body of a human. In contrast to the sphinxes in Egypt, Mesopotamia and Greece, of which the traditions largely have been lost due to the discontinuity of the civilization. 30 The traditions related to the Asian sphinxes are very much alive today. The earliest artistic depictions of sphinxes from the South Asian subcontinent are to some extent influenced by Hellenistic art and writings. These hail from the period when Buddhist art underwent a phase of Hellenistic influence. Numerous sphinxes can be seen on the gateways of Bhat Stupa, dating to the 1st century, BC 28. In South India, the sphinx is known as Pursamarg, Sanskrit, or Purushmrigam Tamil, meaning human beast. It is found depicted in sculptural art in temples and palaces where it serves an apotropaic purpose, just as the sphinxes in other parts of the ancient world. 31 It is said by the tradition to take away the sins of the devotees when they enter a temple and to ward off evil in general. It is therefore often found in a strategic position on the gopuram or temple gateway or near the entrance of the sanctum sanctorum. The Pursamarga plays a significant role in daily as well as yearly ritual of South Indian Shaiva temples. In the Shodhasha Upakara or 16 honors ritual performed between 1 and 6 times at significant sacred moments, through the day it decorates one of the lamps of the Diparadana, or lamp ceremony. And in several temples the Pursamarga is also one of the Vayana or vehicles of the deity, during the processions of the Brahmotseva or festival. In Kanyakumari district in the southernmost tip of the Indian subcontinent, during the night of Shiva Ratri, devotees run 75 kilometers while visiting and worshipping at 12 Shiva temples. This Shiva Autumn or Run for Shiva is performed in commemoration of the story of the race between the Sphinx and Bhima, one of the heroes of the epic Mahabharata. The Indian conception of a sphinx that comes closest to the classic Greek idea is in the concept of the cherubah, a mythical creature part lion, part man and part bird, and the form of Sheraba that god Shiva took on to counter Narasimha's violence. In Sri Lanka and India, citation needed. The Sphinx is known as Narasimha or man lion. As a sphinx, it has the body of a lion and the head of a human being and is not to be confused with Narasimha, the fourth reincarnation of the deity Vishnu. This avatar or incarnation is depicted with a human body and the head of a lion. The Sphinx Narasimha is part of the Buddhist tradition and functions as a guardian of the northern direction, and also was depicted on banners.